Okay, I want to welcome you. None of you looks nervous at all. You look really relaxed, ready to give your talk and convince people that you're the right candidate. Well, let's see how we go here. Now, I have to start with you first, but I got to read some rules first. Don't get too jumpy yet. You want to be respectful of others and their points of view. You may not question other candidates about their opinions. There will be no back and forth conversation between candidates, among candidates. You should discuss issues in your background and not refer to other candidates to contrast yourself. You will honor the time allowed for the opening statement, the questions, and the closing statement. And I will stop you if you get over that time limit. And the young lady down here in the front, she will give you some warning when you have 30 seconds. So I do know that you're going to do well. Your opening statement is you're allowed 3 minutes to make your opening statement. So you're going to have to keep an eye on her some of the time. But if you don't, I will remind you. So we're going to start with Brad Aborn first. Brad, go ahead. You want to stand up or you want to sit down? Okay, there's the mic.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Brad Aborn here, Supervisor, District 1, from 06, actually 07 to 11. So my intention to run again is to continue the work I was doing on my previous time as supervisor. And I came in because of a number of reasons. I think the most significant one was public safety, fire equipment, but also the sheriff's office, where they had, if you recall, in 06, about 22 deputies had walked off the job and gone down to the valley for work because of salary. So anyway, that and some other things, I came aboard and I was elected and I won by 10 votes. They checked it again, 10 votes. So anyway, we worked together before I took office, and by the time I took office in January, we got the money and we got the deputies back. So everything worked out fine there. Fire equipment, you're going to have a chance to re-vote on that very shortly. I think the deadline's the 13th of May. And my recommendation there is please vote yes. Yes. This is very important. I can't stress it enough. So anyway, you will hear things contrary. Don't believe so much what you hear. While many of you know I have a background in the Navy, I would like to lay out a few of my accomplishments. I was in high school when I joined the reserves, just coming out. And anyway, I was over fighter pilot and many other things too. And I was over during the secret war, which was the Laotian crisis. No one came out to the carrier, and of course that's where we were with our missiles and such, so I did not actually see action, but the other aircraft were going out and coming back empty. My tour, My tour of active duty ended, and I stayed in the Naval Reserve for 24 years total, 5.5 active duty. I held a number of positions then, civilian-wise, and it was very significant, all the training that I got, working with people. I was a manager in so many different things, I can't count them now. So Congressman Radonovich cited some examples, and I'll have it on the table there if you're interested, of my accomplishments. And it looks something like this. And then the state did the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for your comments. And you can decide whether you want to stand up or sit down with the microphone. That's your decision to make. Next, I call on Chris Casto. Chris?
Good evening, and thank you for coming, and thank you to the Mariposa AAUW for this public service, for hosting this tonight. Something I want to tell you tonight. I am so excited and so looking forward to the prospect of prosperity in our community. And this can happen because we live between the University of Merced and the Yosemite National Park. This is a gift that we've been given. We need to take advantage of it. UC Merced has a goal of research to market. They want the research to be marketed. We need to sit at that table. We need to be there. We need to make a plan to go down and try to be that community that reaches out to UC Merced. We can do it at our own pace. We can control the growth. We can target that growth. We can make sure that it honors our legacy and our values as a community. We can do this. It's going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to the next 15, 20 years in Mariposa, because we're going to bring back a gem to Mariposa that we haven't seen before. It's going to be like the Gold Rush days, only we control the outcome. You know, Teddy Roosevelt had it right, I think. I'm a Teddy Roosevelt fan. And he said conservation and commercialization can work together, hand in hand. And I think that's true, because each really is strengthened by that relationship. So I believe that we can have the best of both worlds. Tonight I want to tell you, you have faced many choices. What distinguishes me and what qualifies me to get your respect and to get your vote? Well, it's experience. One word is experience. I've been honored to be elected to the Los Altos City Council twice, serving 2 years as mayor. Prior to that, I was on the Planning Commission there for 10 years. The accomplishments include same accomplishments that your Board of Supervisors is now entrenched in. General plan, updating the general plan, rewriting the general plan. They're now looking at the housing element in the general plan. I've had experience going through all those processes. We were fortunate enough to make sure that we have enough reserves in our budget. We were fortunate enough to be able to hire new policemen, and we were fortunate enough to keep on track. I'm currently now on LAFCO, Local Agency Formation Commission, and on the Mariposa Tourism Bureau. I'm a hard worker. I want to explain to you in the closing statements about my experience in business here locally and in the Bay Area, and my experiences in a wonderful community that we have relating to all the wonderful organizations.
Okay, thank you very much. Next we have Mr. Marshall Long. Mr. Long, why don't you use the mic here?
Thank you. Yes, my name is Marshall Long, and I am a lifelong resident of Mariposa County. Born and raised here. I was born in John C. Fremont Hospital, and that brings me to my wife, Robin, who is in the audience. She was also born here. We're both natives of Mariposa. We were both educated here at Mariposa High School. I graduated with honors here, and used to step right back there playing baritone when I was in the band here. I've been a rancher for all my life, lived here all my life, and I have a lot of experiences that will help me to be a supervisor. Some of the things I've done in the past in regard to public service. Back when I was in 4th grade, we started tearing down old barns to start putting the inside walls of the History Center that are still there today. And it has been a lifelong experience working in the public service sector. I gained leadership skills in 4-H and in the Mariposa FFA chapter right here again at Mariposa High School. I gained the American Farm degree in 1976, and I was the president of the chapter in 1974-75. The biggest thing that I've been seeing as I have been traveling throughout the district is the poverty here. You really don't see it unless you get off the roads and you're out campaigning and you see it. And the only way that you can really address poverty is through economic prosperity. And that is the biggest plank in my platform is economic prosperity, followed by accessibility and an open door policy. I will be working for you as a supervisor. I don't work for myself. You are my employees. You elect me, and I have to do what is right for you. Otherwise, in 4 years, you unelect me. I was walking through the hallways of my alma mater, and I saw something on the 2010 graduates' pictures, and that was small town, big dreams. Well, yeah, Mariposa is a small town, and they may have big dreams, but they can't fulfill those dreams here because we do not have economic prosperity. I am a supporter of the Williamson Act. I am a supporter of branding our products here in Mariposa County, and I want economic diversity here so that everybody can do well, have money in their pocket, have good paying jobs, and at the same time preserve our culture and our natural resources. And I thank you for coming tonight. I had hoped that there would be more folks here, but thank you for coming tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Rosemary Smolkin.
Hi, I'm Karen Smith, and remember my name. Thank you for coming, and thank you, AAUW. I'm a member of AAUW and on the board, and so it's always fun to do these forums, and I didn't really expect to be on this side of the stage. So anyways, I came here in 1999. We bought property, moved here full-time in 2002. My background is in government work and in private industry. I worked in the Pentagon. I worked at the Defense Language Institute and the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey. I also worked for an industrial marketing company for probably about 15 years, and also in software development. And when we moved here, I went to work for Gina K. Meckel at Century 21. I ended up going into real estate because there wasn't any programming jobs here. And that was it. It was either work at the frost shop or become a realtor, so I chose that. Gina K really took me under their wings and got me involved in the community. Being in real estate, you get to meet so many people, which is wonderful. But they really got me going to Rotary, and then the Hospital Foundation. So since 2002, I've been pretty much giving 100% in volunteerism as well as working. And then we joined AAUW, and so now I'm involved with that also. I'm a member of the Fishing Game Protected Club here, the Chamber, Fly Fishing Club in Merced. I think real estate is important because of what you have to know. You have to be familiar with so many of the county offices, you need, especially with planning. You need land use, zoning, working with environmental health, working with the building department. So it gives you kind of a broad idea of the county and how it functions. I also worked for the county for about 1.5 years until my job was cut with a budget cut. And so I went back to work in real estate. So working in the county admin office, I was able to see really how the hub of the county functioned, and it got me interested in county government. And then when I left, I went to Kevin Can, Supervisor Can, and said, "You need some help on some of the local projects, and I'd like to volunteer." So I did. So we have some big issues now. We need to increase revenue, so we can do that how? By increasing rooms, increasing TOT, decrease services. So what I'd like to do, and I'll map it out later, is develop a work where you play kind of situation where we can encourage small businesses, home-based businesses, to locate here and start here, because small businesses are really the backbone of the county. So, and I'm also endorsed by Lee Stetson.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we have Rosemary Smolkin. I pronounced your name correctly.
Good evening. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedules to come hear what I have to say and the other candidates, both for assessor recorder and for supervisor. My name is Rosemary Smallcomb, and I'm running for District 1, and I believe I have a background that can help address some of the issues that Mariposa County is facing, and I hope you'll agree that I do have such a background. I come from a very small town in Colorado. My dad was a cattle rancher. My mom died when I was pretty young, and so I was raised by my dad and two older brothers who, my older brothers taught me how to shoot and to lift weights, which was okay until I found out that they were making money by placing bets on whether I would beat out the other young boys in the neighborhood when I lifted weights and shot the guns. So that taught me how to stand on my own 2 feet and where to draw the line in dealing with other people. My father taught me stewardship and to love the land and to conserve the resources. I was raised to give back to the community that I call home, and I have lived my life that way. I also was raised to believe in representative democracy and in civil service. I hope to bring those things to Mariposa County. My educational background, like Neil, I have an undergraduate degree from University of California, Riverside, go Scots. And I have a master's in education, and I have a master's in business administration. My first professional job was working at a research institute where I learned to collect a lot of data, analyze it, and package it for decision making and to guide policy decisions. From there, I went into private industry where my job was to solve problems. I was responsible for understanding business goals and objectives, particularly in the international environment, and evaluating those goals and objectives against laws and regulations, primarily federal laws and regulations. So I worked a lot with federal government agencies. I learned a lot about how government works and how it doesn't work. I learned a lot about how business works and it doesn't work. So I believe I'm well positioned to guide the county in bringing business and the government sector together to the benefit of Mariposa citizens. Since coming to Mariposa, I've been involved in an effort to overturn the cuts to the reimbursement rate for Medi-Cal patients. I am currently leading an effort to establish a biomass facility here in Mariposa County, and I am part of a team looking at expansion of broadband coverage here in Mariposa County. So please think about my background. Please think about voting for me on June 3rd. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Next, we have Pete Olson. Mr. Olson.
Well, my name is Harvey Pete Olson. Anybody's got any questions where Pete came from, talk to me later. I'm a retired small business owner. I've lived in the motherlode about 35 years. Most of the time I was in Sonora, Tuolumne County. And from living over there, and compared to that to coming over here, night and day. One of my goals is to try to keep this county the way it is, but yet expand it for the businesses. I'm married, I have 4 children. I'm the vice president of the board of directors of the Golden Agers. Ex-Noble Grand Humbug of the Tuca Chapter B Campus Vitus, with dedicated monument out front of this building last month. Past grand of the Mariposa Lodge, number 39 of the Odd Fellows. And I volunteer at the senior bingo every Friday night, every first Friday of every month. And if you've never been there, you should try to come out to it. It's a lot of fun. What else can I say? I believe that this county is worth being involved in as a volunteer. people to the south of us in Oakhurst and in Sonora, they've got it all wrong, and this is the way it should be. I believe in keeping the rural attitude like we have here. I also believe in the Williamson Act. I think it's been in place here long enough that the county has learned to deal with it. Several people complain about their taxes are too high, and it has nothing to do with the Williamson Act. And with that, I think I'll say thank you. Thanks to the AAUW for inviting us, and thank you guys for all coming out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now we have Brian Gomes.
You got this one, right?
I got it right, yeah. Now you get it.
My name is Brian Gomes. I want to thank all of you for being here also. A little bit about me. I am a father. I'm married. My wife and I came here in 2000. We were asked to come here by the probation department to do alternative sentencing program. And I fell in love with the county with my family, and we bought a place here, and here's where we are. Let me go back to coming here through probation. Valley Educational Services is a business that I own, and we do alternative sentencing programs through courts, through probation, through parole, through PPF, and through other agencies through Central California that are alternative sentencing. What does that mean? That means that we, instead of the court sending someone to prison, they send them to us to give them the tools, to give them the money to make changes in their lives. My business, Valley Education, the Attorney General's office in 06 did a survey of all of the domestic violence programs throughout the state of California. Valley Educational Services that year had 291 enrolled students, and we had a 91% completion success rate according to the Attorney General's office. State of California's average in Sacramento was the lowest at 25%, and the state's average was 75%. That success that we had in that business came from hours and hours of work and research and setting up programs and things to help people change their lives. And I'll bring that same hard work that I put in. I was 100 hours a week, usually minimum. I'll bring that same hard work and dedication to this office. I see a lot of problems in this county when it comes to, your remarks will say we have poverty, tons of it. I deal in this county. The drug and alcohol problem here is tremendous. 90% of the people I get here are drug and alcohol related. And we need to make a lot of changes, of course, to help the children in those families. And I get 5 generations in programs. 5 generations, can you imagine? That's absolutely appalling. So we need to help those people for sure. I'm a father of 2 children who are going to Reset JC, 2 children at MES at 4-H. I belong to the Odd Fellows, and I'm a member of the Collaboratorium through Change, or for I'm a veteran, drafted during Vietnam. I was released in 2 years. I was a sergeant in 14 months. I was in charge of personnel, and I just seem to work hard at everything I do. And in this office, I'll do the same thing. I see the problems here being the money to finance the county. I'm a little different than thinking we're going to bring in jobs and things. I don't believe we can. I got to stop. I have a lot more to say. Bless you all.
Okay, Veronica Johnson is next, and may I say to you, Veronica, you'll be the first one to give the closing statement when we get to that. So we'll be fair. Start here with
Hi, I'm Veronica Johnson. My first came to Mariposa about 40 years ago. I grew up in Reset and lived on a ranch there. My father ran restaurants. And he built one here in Mariposa and a motel, and I ended up coming up here and helping him work in that industry, along with a couple of restaurants we had in El Portel. And that gave me a pretty good foundation in the hospitality business, and I used that experience to travel around and work in many other resorts in different areas. I raised my 3 children here. They have each gone through the school system here, and it's provided a great education for them and got them off to good colleges. I'm kind of rushing through this because I've only got 2 minutes, and I want to let you know where I'm coming from and why I'm here. I'm here because I hate politics. And about 10 years ago, I was in a couple of accidents that put me out of work for a while. And it was during that time that I became aware of our government and what was going on. I was paying a little more attention where I didn't have time to do that when I was working and raising kids. It was that awareness that led me to become an activist with the Get Out the Vote ground campaign. And I worked quite a bit in 2010 and 2012 ground campaigns, which was a nonpartisan organization that went out and educated voters on the issues and the candidates so that they could make more informed votes. And that is what opened my eyes, was the contact that I had with people during that time, realizing that a lot of people didn't know why they were voting on certain issues or certain people. They were not real educated in their votes. And that opened my eyes. So when I came back to Mariposa from the ground campaign, I started going to Board of Supervisors meetings this last 5 years and became aware that we are not much different as to how we run our government here. I'm looking for responsibility and accountability in our government, and I believe that by electing the right people into those positions and demanding accountability and responsibility, maybe we can run a little tighter ship there. I see a lot of wasteful spending. I see a lot of self-interest in our county. And so that is what has motivated me to run for this position. I'm learning more as every meeting, and I encourage everybody to go because I'm having a loss of my words here because there's so much I do want to say. What I'm getting at is I'm nervous, and I appreciate the fact that you care enough. My entire goal has been public awareness. I advocate for your public land rights, your private land rights, and your natural. Okay, I'll be back.
Okay, now we're going to go to the questions. We had more than 3, but we have time constraints. We have a lot of them here, and we don't want to take all night to do this. But you're going to have, let's see, 1 minute for your answer to the questions. I'll read the questions. I'll start with you. You go right down the line. And I think you should use the other mic there. I think it'd be easier if you use the mic. Each of you use the mic. Unless you don't want to. I mean, I don't want to get into an argument with you. Okay, here's the first one now. Williamson Act has to do with the Williamson Act. How do you support it or not support it? Do you support it or don't you support it? And why do you support it and why don't you support it?
The Williamson Act, yes, I support it. But those that are in the Williamson Act need to obey the rules and regulations for the Williamson Act. It's not fair to have someone that doesn't even live there, and this has happened in the past. So the Williamson Act is very important for the ranchers. This is what allows them to make a profit in some cases by trimming the taxes, if you will, and that. I'm on 60 acres on the Yosemite Ranch, and we don't qualify, which scared me, but anyway, I accept that, and a lot of others do too. But for those that qualify and such, it's very important. And support it wholeheartedly.
Okay, we're going to go to the next person, Chris, and let me read it to you again. It involves the Williamson Act. How do you support it or not support it, or do you support it or not support it? Why or why not?
Thank you. I do support the Williamson Act, and I call this the Land Conservation Act, because that's really what it is. It happens to be in agriculture and or natural resources. The Williamson Act is the act that when you drive up from Merced, you get to the county line, you know you're someplace different. It allows for open space, it allows for wildlife corridors, it allows for just wildlife, it allows for protections for our forests in our county. In the last few years, the last 10 years, we've had 6,000 acres come into the Williamson Act, and that's only 600 acres a year. So you can see that there's not a large rush of land to come into the Williamson Act. We have over 200,000 acres in that now, and I believe that's probably going to be steady for the next few years. And it really brings the ruralness of our county to the fore, and it's one of the reasons we all live here.
Okay, thank you. And next we have Marshall Long. Marshall, I'll read the question again. Williamson Act. Do you support it, or don't you support it? Why or why not?
I've got to get used to this mic first. Yes, I support it 100%. It was signed into law by my father when he was a supervisor in 1977. It has been a wonderful land use tool to keep open space in Mariposa County, and it has stopped the string town type of development that you see in Oakhurst. There are tourists who will stop down near the county line taking photographs, and you can tell in their eyes they just aren't used to seeing that much open space. It's a blessing for us, and it's because of the Williamson Act that it is there. It does assist ranchers in staying competitive, and it's not just Mariposa County, but the Williamson Act covers about 2/3 of all the privately owned land in California.
Okay, Karen Smith, do you support the Williamson Act or not, and why or why not?
I do support it. There's over 209,000 acres in the Williamson Act, and it is important to keep the open space in the wildlife corridors. And it continues with the heritage of the Mariposa County. I think that over the years there has been some problems with some of the owners of property not following the rules, I should say. I see it in real estate, but I was really happy to see when the meeting in the Board of Supervisors, when that issue came up, when they were talking about restricting future property to going into the Williamson Act, that people acknowledge that, and I think it's important, and I think it is happening, that people are policing themselves. So I was really happy to see that. So I do support it, and I'm happy that we do have all that open space.
Okay, we have Rose Marie Smallcombe. Williamson Act, do you support it or not support it? Why or why not?
Yes, I do support the Williamson Act, and I oppose the proposed moratorium on new contracts under the Williamson Act. And I support the Williamson Act because of the importance of agriculture to Mariposa's economy. In last year, it contributed about $35 million to our economy, which is a fair chunk of change. It also, as others have mentioned, attracts tourists to our area, and it preserves a way of life that is critical to our character as a county. It also is important from the standpoint of wildlife corridors as well as preserving our watersheds. So yes, once again, I absolutely do support the Williamson Act.
Okay, next we have Pete Olson. Mr. Olson, do you support the Williamson Act? Why or why not?
Yes, I do support the Williamson Act, and part of it is because, oh good, laugh with me please. The county since 1977 has gotten used to the Williamson Act as far as the money that comes in, and I can't see any reason why that, oh boy, sorry about this. I'm going to give up on that one, I'm sorry.
You still have some more time if you want.
Okay, let's try it again. I do believe that it's good, because if you did lose the Williamson Act, that property is going to be sold to somebody, and what would probably come out of that would be something like Tuolumne County. I don't think that that's good.
Okay, thank you very much. Brian Bones, your answer to the Williamson Act, you support it, not support it, why and why not?
I fully support the Williamson Act. I think it's essential to this county. It does preserve wildlife and open spaces, which is what we're about here. It also brings in jobs, and the farmers have supported this county for many, many years, hundreds of years. And it's important to understand we need to support. I was born and raised on a ranch, and the Williamson Act went into effect in 1965. And when it went into effect, I was working very hard on a ranch. It called it 30 seconds. It's called that I had to do all the work. When the Williamson Act went in and all of a sudden we had a little more money because it's a tax reduction, we were able to hire people. So with the Williamson Act in effect, the ranchers are having, it brings in jobs and people and places for people to work here. Take that away from them and it will be land sold to development, because where else can they find the money to keep those properties going except tax breaks? We're getting ready to get rid of that. I see your hand on.
Okay, thank you. Now we go to Veronica Johnson on the Williamson Act. You support it or not? Why not?
I do support the Williamson Act. Ag is our only year-round economy in Mariposa County, and it also preserves our open spaces. I see a lot of constrictions coming down on our ag statewide. California produces 50% of the world food supply. And as I watch our valley deteriorate and shrink, I see a lot of regulations coming into place that do threaten the Williamson Act, and I think that's an important thing that we need to preserve, and including our FFA programs, which are going to bring up our future agricultural ranchers, and the programs that even the school offers our kids really does a lot of good, and I think we need to be promoting that as well.
Okay, thank you. We'll stick with you right now on this one. For the first question, or second question, and listen to it carefully. What economic development strategies would you use to improve the economy of Mariposa County?
I would begin by auditing all departments for proficiency and productivity. I think that there's a lot of programs and departments that we have that could be shaped. I see a lot of expansion with some of our departments that may not be necessary. I believe that by starting there and shrinking our departments and the money that we're putting out on these programs would be a start. 30 seconds comes by quick. I believe that by starting there in our county and then maybe reshifting that money into areas that will better serve our county by redirecting some of those funds would be a start for economic development. I would like to see Mariposa be a little more focused on Mariposa rather than just national park activities. I believe we could be taking some of the money that we spend on tourism for national park and putting it towards Mariposa tourism to provide a better economy base.
Thank you, Veronica. Next we have, we'll go right down the line, Brian.
And the question was?
And the question is, what will you do to improve public safety? Excuse me. That's the last question. What economic development strategies would you use to improve the economy of Mariposa County?
I agree with Veronica that we could do a lot of getting into the departments and figuring out where they're spending their money, how they're spending it, and making it more efficient. I also believe that, I don't think we can bring a lot of industry in here. We're blessed with Yosemite. We have a tourism right there that's great. It's an asset to it. I think we, during tourist season, we're at 110% overfilled in our hotels. You can put that down. and why do we lose those jobs? I think we need to bring in more hotels. We need to raise the TOT. If we raise the tax on tourism here to 2%, we bring in another $2 million to help the economy. I also don't understand why we spend $500,000 a year advertising one of the wonders of the world. Yosemite is definitely the reason that we're a tourist industry.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Pete Olson, let me read the question again. What economic development strategies would you use to improve the economy of Mariposa County?
First of all, I would think that encouraging more small businesses, not large business, big box stuff, but small businesses. Maybe even encourage the businesses that are here that are small to expand. And by expanding, by being able to use the workforce that's here in the county that's available, rather than encouraging people to move in from other places. That's good enough for right now. Thank you. As you can tell, I'm not a very public speaker on this. I'm just an individual that has decided that he would like to support the county by becoming a supervisor. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Rosemary Small. Let me read the question again.
I was wondering if you were going to say that.
What economic development strategies would you use to improve the economy in Mariposa County?
Well, first of all, let me say that there are no silver bullets when it comes to economic development. We need to focus on balancing our rural character against a need for a more robust economy other than tourism. What I'm focused on is reducing the risk of fire and tying the vegetation removal to establishment of a biomass facility here in Mariposa that could generate clean electricity that would be attractive to companies that have low impact but high energy consumption processes, and also expanding our grant writing capacity so that we can create jobs in various areas, including removal of vegetation to supply the biomass facility. So those three would work together, and the education system, we need to find ways to bring our children into the workforce.
Okay, thank you. Karen Smith, what economic development strategies would you use to improve the economy of this county?
Okay, so I work now with the EDC, and I'm also on the Central Sierra Economic District Development. So we've mapped out different areas to go after, what types of businesses would be a match here. We're working with getting people where using the microloan process, which has been very successful for small businesses in the county. I'd like to develop my Work Where You Play marketing strategy. And then I also think, we used to have a film coordinator, I think, in the county, and I think it would be nice to bring that back because there was revenue generated from that could be picked up again. It would also be nice to be able to have more festivals and things that would be actually a destination for people, that would bring people in to spend money. And I would like to also see the development of a conference center here that would bring people to the county. Thank you.
Marshall Long, let me read the question again. What economic development strategies would you use to improve the economy of Mariposa County?
Well, first of all, leadership, because we have enough plans in place that we could probably paper the inside of this building with all of the papers. We have an economic development strategy that the county paid for. We have the countywide general plan that talks about economic development. Seeing the poverty out there, the poverty rate here in 2010 was 12.5%. In 2010, 34% of our residents were eligible for low-income assistance. That's not right. That's not my Mariposa County. How do I lead? Well, I'm going to lead in this way. We're going to create a do-it-yourself economic growth right here in Mariposa County. We're going to do it ourselves. We don't have to bring anybody else in. We have the strategies, we have the plans in place, and let's get it done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chris Pasto, I'm going to read the questions again. What economic development strategies would you use to improve the economy in Mariposa County?
Well, the Economic Development Commission in 2007 did write this economic development strategy. I think it should be part of every budget hearing. We need to get it out. We need to look at what needs to be done to bring economic vitality back into our county and to continue it. One is jobs. We need jobs, jobs, jobs. Jobs will bring economic vitality back into the county. We can get that through a relationship with UC Merced because they're going to be going gangbusters in the next decade. They're going to be bringing research that will service good jobs in our clean environment. We need to support all the home-based businesses. We've got lots of those. We have to reach out to the home-based businesses to make sure that they have what they need and to make sure that there is land use for them to go to if they need to expand and help them to expand. We can look at recreation goals because we've got a county that's beautiful and there's so much recreation that we could take advantage with the private sector. We need to get out of the way, let the private sector come in and make sure that we can have full, fun recreation.
Okay, Brad, what economic development strategies would you use to improve the economy of this county?
I think part of it is to look around at our neighbors and also take a hard look at the TOT and where it is going. When you have to get a plumber from Oakhurst or something like that, and by the way, Oakhurst does not like where they are, and most of the people there. But anyway, small business development, but mainly advertising, Sunset Magazine and such. We've fallen off the map on getting people in to see what
Public safety funding during shrinking revenues.
looking for grants right off the bat. But anyway, the TOT is too much of it is going elsewhere. I've talked to the Chamber of Commerce, and money has gone out of that into the tourism office that was spread, and they want more. And money has to be really watched and watched very closely on what we have to spend. And as far as public safety goes, that's the main one in my book, that it has to. I've been told by the union contact that they figure they're in the 1990s right now as far as salaries goes. We did get a raise a couple of weeks ago for the sheriff, but we didn't need, if I was a board,
Okay, thank you.
be hanging on that one.
Now we're going to go to Chris Casto. What will you do to improve public safety funding during shrinking revenue?
It's all related to the last question. It's all about bringing more revenue in. And one of the ways to bring more revenue is to look at the TOT increase. It's 10% now and could go higher. And each percentage that it goes higher is $1 million into our budget. So with $1 million extra, we could really increase the public safety. We have the Exeter Dam, whose issue is going to be coming in the floor for some more for economic value for our budget. And besides bringing more jobs in, I think that making sure that the Tourism Bureau can bring more visitors and tourists in, and to make sure that small business has a platform that they can rely on and be secure. It's a great community, and I think that the public safety has been doing a wonderful job. My hat's off to Doug Benoise and all, and so we need to honor them and keep them safe.
Okay, Marshall Long, you're next. What will you do to improve public safety funding during shrinking revenues?
The best way to increase funding streams for the county is to expand the economic base, and you do expand your economic base, your tax base, with business. And those businesses supply jobs, they supply good paying jobs. We can have startup micro businesses, micro industries, but if you keep expanding your tax base, not only do the jobs create taxes for the county to use, but it also starts the process of rebuilding our housing market here. Because if you have jobs, you have prosperity, people are going to start buying homes, they're going to start turning them over, and the assessed valuation goes up, they're further bringing in more funding, in particular for roads, schools, and public safety. Thank you.
Okay, Karen Smith, what will you do to improve public safety funding during shrinking revenues?
Well, I believe next week the Board of Supervisors, TOT is going to be on the agenda, so you might want to come and hear. They're talking about raising it 2% and dedicating a certain amount of that increase towards public safety and also towards roads. So, but really the key to a lot of our problems in Mariposa County is jobs and revenue and getting the economy going again through small businesses. I'd also like to see the infrastructure downtown. We need to bring the sewer and water out to the fairgrounds and also out to the airport so we can have economic zones out there. Thank you.
Okay, next, go ahead. What will you do to improve public safety funding during shrinking resources? And that would be Rosemary Small.
Thank you. As other candidates have said, obviously we need to expand our economy in order to produce revenue to support expansion in funding for public safety employees. One way that I would like to see us do that is to bring in people who have good paying jobs and can work on the internet. One person that I was talking with today, who is the Chief Technical Officer for the Wi-Fi Alliance, suggested that we could use a marketing slogan, "You can have it all in Mariposa." And bringing people with good paying jobs who can work via the internet can increase property values, the taxes that are paid into our coffers, and the money that is spent in Mariposa. It's one of many possible ways to increase the diversity in our economy and the money available for public safety.
Thank you very much. Next, Pete Olson, what will you do to improve public safety funding during shrinking revenues?
I think one way is to explore grants that are available, which brought up before, raising the TOT, that's another way. We need to guide our growth so that it does not overtax the resources that we have. We have this the fire tax, the $80 per parcel, which that's hitting a lot of people that have more than one parcel that are retired, that are, they can't afford that, but the money needs to be checked on where it's going and exactly, what's happening with the money. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, Brian Gomez, what will you do to improve public safety funding during shrinking
Revenues, that's one of the biggest problems we have in this county, of course. Bringing in jobs sounds wonderful, but we don't have the infrastructure for it at all, so I would rely on what we do have, and that's our TOT. We need to raise the tax on the hotels It's at 10% now. If we raise it to 12, that's $2 million extra dollars. In the other tourist counties, it's 12.5 to 14.5%. So we would still be under their, the tax rates for other tourist counties. Also, we could relook at the other programs that are going on in the county, the other divisions out there to make sure they're spending their money correctly. The new contract is coming in for the lake, for MID, and that could bring in another $5 million a year into our budget. They're saying they're not going to pay us. We're in court now. That comes up in November, Tulare County. Hopefully, the judge there will put them a notice that they have to start paying us immediately.
Okay, thank you. And Veronica Johnson, what will you do to improve public safety funding during shrinking revenues?
Increasing the economy sounds great, but that's not going to address the problem that we have right now. What we are facing right now in this county is an increase in a homeless population that moves up here, partially for the reason that we don't have a lot of public safety, and it's easy to live in a rural area like this. So our homeless population is increasing, our cartel activity is increasing. These types of activities demand better public safety. So I would address that immediately by looking again at our budget and learning to live within our budget, which means we're going to have to shave something else out to get an immediate action on that. I know that our sheriff's department has a problem keeping deputies because we start them out at low pay. They come here and it's a springboard for, they get educated on our county and then they move on to a bigger paying job outside of our county. So I know that the sheriff's department needs more funding for their deputies in order to keep them, and I'm out of time. But I think that would be a first approach, would be to address, work within our budget and get the public funding.
Stop, please. Thank you, and hang on to the mic. Not as long as you do this. We're going to go next. Look out your audience first and say, I'm going to make a closing statement, and I'm going to make it convince all these people, each one for a vote. So we're going to start with Veronica Johnson, and you have 2 minutes.
I am encouraging you all to attend as many of these candidate forums as you can to get a better idea as to who we are. I believe that honesty, integrity should be number one when we're going to elect people into these offices that represent us. I'm not a skilled politician or professional in that way. I am a business person. I've run businesses my entire life. I've been a single parent most of my life, so I know how to bend a buck when I have to. I believe that we need to work within our budget. I want to see the debt decreased. Right now, we are $17 million in debt to PERS alone and paying 7% interest on that. Just the 7% interest alone could be addressing things like our public safety, redirecting some of those tourism funds from Yosemite to Mariposa, where we could expand on our local tourism, and by that I mean tourists from Central California, the Bay Area, the locals that come here for day trips and weekends. I think that we could be marketing that in a more effective manner that could possibly create year-round tourism, which would build a bit of an economy for us. None of this is going to happen overnight, but I've been hearing this talk for the last 20-something years I've lived here, and it's never changed. What I see is just more debt, and our little government here is expanding and getting bigger, but we don't see much changing that way. We are looking at a lot of changes coming, and I know this because I attend the meetings and I see what's happening. I encourage you all to attend the meetings and be informed on your local government. I will be having a meet and greet on May 10th at the Senior Center at 2 o'clock. Congressman Tom McClintock will be there also to address a lot of these issues that are facing our county and our nation as well. So you'll be able to hear a little more about where my head is if you go.
We're going to go to Brian Bones and your closing statement. 2 minutes.
Thank you. Why am I running? I'm running because I go to a lot of, being a provider of programs in the county, I'm required under the penal code to go to a lot of meetings. And when I go to these county meetings, I see a lot of things that are going on that I just don't agree with. I mean, we make some mistakes here and I bring those things up at those meetings and ask questions, and I don't take no for an answer. I want to hear the answers, and I want to hear answers that make sense. And when I get out of these meetings, people are always asking me to run. They ask me to run for this office. We need somebody there that'll speak for us. We need somebody there that'll speak for the people and not for the grants and their economy, that being the people in these jobs, in these positions. This job that I'm asking you to vote me in for is about you. I'm here to speak for the people. I have no agenda, zero. I have nobody that's backing me. I'm doing this because I've been asked to represent you. And that's exactly what I'll do if I'm elected. I'll hear you, I'll represent you, I'll vote and speak for you as you designate me to do that. And that's why I'm running for this office. I don't know what else to say. I have a law background. I went to University of Pacific. I was a pre-law major, so a lot of things that go on in this county that I hear people talk about often, isn't even legal. And it's a waste of our time. And when it gets into the committees, we find those things have to be changed. If I'm in this position, a lot of things I'll be able to say off the beginning, what are we doing this for? We need to do more research. We have to make sure that what we're doing is in the right areas and not do it stupid. And that's why I'm running. So I hope I can get your vote. God bless you all. God bless Mariposa County.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to Pete Olson for your closing statement. You all don't have to take 2 minutes.
I'm taking the short route. As you can tell, I'm not very good at public speaking. I've never done anything like this before in my life. What can I say? I will strive in every way to preserve and enhance the quality of life here if I can. I really didn't know what I was getting into when I decided to do this. But I'm learning very fast. And just some of the things that I've got down here is that I believe that the key to a good government is maintaining trust and openness. I would be open at all times for any conversation with anybody about what's going on in the county. I'd be definitely an open door situation. I believe that we must support our public safety to keep our life, our homes, our streets, and schools safe. I believe that we need to carefully weigh the decisions that we make today so that we will not bankrupt us tomorrow. I believe we need to explore new funding opportunities and not rely on Yosemite tourism alone. My highest priority is maintaining our quality of life. Mariposa County is my home. I live in Cathy's Valley. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Rosemary Smolcom, the same issue, closing statement.
Thank you all again for coming this evening and for taking the time to hear what we have to say. My closing statement is to go back to the fact that I have over nearly 30 years in private industry working in the business world. And those of you who have worked in the business world or owned a business know that results are what enable you, achieving results are what enable you to keep your job, and achieving results beyond expectation are what enable you to work your way up the ladder and make more money. But the thing that I found that enabled me to achieve the results that I did in working in private industry was the credibility that I established with everyone that I worked with, whether it was someone in the Department of Defense, the Department of Commerce, the Department of Treasury, or in the companies for which I worked. My role as supervisor, I believe, is to provide that credibility, that accountability to the citizens of District 1 and to the citizens of Mariposa County, to do the work that advances the interests of the citizens of District 1 and represents their goals and objectives. I have a track record of doing that in the business sector and working with government. I believe that I am in a good position to find the interstices between business and government to the benefit of the people of Mariposa County. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you, Sharon, and we go now to Marshall Long. Karen, I'm sorry.
I don't think you like me.
One thing about it, you won't forget your name.
My name's Karen Smith, and don't forget my name. I've never run for public office before, and I had never even considered it until a year or two ago when I got involved and interested in the workings of the county government and being involved with the community in general. Working as a real estate agent, you are your own boss. If you don't produce, you don't get any money. I understand the need of working 24/7. I'm used to that. I'm used to working with people on buyers and sellers, so it's sort of like you have to manage both parties and keep everybody happy. It's an interesting job. It's much like a county because you've got so many different factions and so many working parts. I'm at a point in my life where I can pretty much do what I want, and I've decided this is something that I would really like to do. I'm good at problem solving. I've worked with large budgets when I worked for the military. I like challenges. Those who know me know that I follow through whatever I say I'm going to do. And I'm really looking forward to a new, exciting career as a supervisor. I believe that it's important to hire really smart people around you. The department heads, I think, have to be really smart because it always makes the supervisors look good if they're doing their job. I don't want to micromanage, but I would like to streamline some of the departments and have them work together so that we don't miss revenues. I see that quite often. I have a good knowledge of zoning, land use, environmental health, all the different departments. I know the department heads, I know the staff. I'm comfortable with them, and I believe they're comfortable with me, so I would be starting out with a good working relationship. And I would really like to have your vote, and I thank you very much.
Thank you. And Marshall Long, your closing statement.
First off, I want to thank the AAUW for providing this event, and I thank all of you for coming this evening. As a business person and rancher all my life, I bring a lot of experience to the position of supervisor. It is a function of leadership being a supervisor. You lead the county with the other 4 board members. You set the example, you set the course, and I want to set the course toward economic prosperity. I have seen the poverty, and I want to deal with it, and I want to deal with it directly. I want to form partnerships within the county using other stakeholders so that we can do the jobs necessary. I want to work with our schools to make sure that they are producing the students with the skills that we need for the jobs that we will be creating in Mariposa County. I have experience working in the democratic process as a council member in Columbia State Historic Park on the Columbia Advisory Council. We dealt with many contentious issues there, in particular the American elm tree issue where the county was going to cut them down and the public protested. And out of that came a plan and a direction to replace the elm trees over a number of years. It would be an honor to be a supervisor and a privilege. And again, I have an open door policy. My phone number is listed in the phone book, so you can contact me at any time. I am having a meet and greet Saturday from 4 to 7 at our longest corral at Yankee Gulch and Old Highway, and I would love to see you there. And my website is longonmariposa.com. And again, I thank you for the event and thank you for coming this evening.
Okay, thank you for your comments. And next we have Chris Casto and your closing statement.
Thank you very much for coming. As been said, you know, we need to listen to your voice, and we need to talk and to chat. Mariposa is a jewel and a gem. We all I've been raised here. And we chose to come here 25 years ago and bought a piece of property, and have lived here for 10. And it's just been a wonderful experience. Wonderful people. Look, I know half of you out there. This is great. Friends with a lot of people. I made great friendships and role models within our community. As I said before, I do have experience on city council and doing budgetary decisions and discussions. Los Altos had a $25 million budget and about 100 employees. In Mariposa, the Board of Supervisors is responsible for a $100 million budget and 400 employees. The discretionary funds that the Board of Supervisors is directly involved is $25 million. And so I've had experience making those hard decisions on those discretionary funds. I've owned a small business here in Mariposa and helping the economic vitality of our community. I'm townie now. I go downtown to work. I love meeting all the people and all the visitors, and I feel like a mini chamber of commerce in my store at times. I love the value that a small community places on giving. I've never seen so many people willing to give their time, talent, and energy. And I've been past president of Mariposa Rotary, past president of Mariposa Community Foundation, past president of the Mariposa Agri-Nature Association, and I've been in many boards. And I love to serve. I love to serve my community. I love to serve you, and looking forward to a bright future with prosperity. And I know we can get it done.
Okay, thank you. We have Brad Aborn, your closing statement.
Okay. It's got a weak spot. Anyway, I came up here, my brother brought me up in 1953 when I was a junior in high school. I fell in love with Yosemite and the surrounding areas. One of the things I want to point out is this government here is a county government, not Yosemite, nor the other way around, that we are working for the park. And getting that established that way very important, and keeping it that way. Anyway, it's really important as we move through the years and everything, and as we serve the people of Mariposa County. Our relationship with Yosemite is very important. But we are Mariposa County. I'm just stressing that because there are some things in the wind, and I hope I'm wrong. But I just love Mariposa. We have 3 children here. I'm not touching it, by the way. And anyway, we have 2 seniors in high school finishing up, and we just love it. This is paradise. That's where we are. Love it. Or leave it. But anyway, thank you so much, and I would love to serve Mariposa. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and that closes the program. But let me say to you that I'm really impressed with all these candidates. They're all very serious-minded, as were the assessor candidates, and I congratulate you. They all did a good job. Keep it up, and next time we'll fill up the audience here, I'm pretty sure. Now, if you have any questions of any one of them, don't let them get out the door. Go right up to them and be nice to them, but ask them a question. Thank you.
I want to thank you guys for coming tonight. I also want to thank the crew that helped get this event ready, and want to remind you, we only got through 3 questions because we have such a large panel here, and we have opportunity to talk with these candidates again. Next Tuesday, we'll be at Kathy's Valley McKay Hall, and we'll have our District 3 supervisor candidates there. And on Wednesday, May 7th, next week, we'll be up in El Portal at the El Portal Community Center with the District 1 supervisors. So I encourage you to talk to these folks as they're leaving, but also you have another opportunity next week to ask more questions if you're interested. And thank you very much, and thanks, John.
Hang on 1 second. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to thank the AAUW. They did all the work for this. And this person right here is so well organized, I kind of feel a little bit off here. I hope I can pick up a little bit. She is just dynamite on organization. Let's thank the AAUW.